Oh man, guys, we still got that history project coming up.
Yeah, I know. What are we going to talk about?
I don't know, it's gonna take us a long time, so we need to think about it.
Where are we?
I don't know.
What is that?
A magical vehicle?
Where do you go? hell? Where am I? When am I? Where are we? Hey guys. What is that?
I don't know.
It's like a scooter, but it's not.
I'm so confused.
What is this? I don't know. It's like a scooter, but it's not.
What are you doing here?
I followed you guys.
Oh well, we're doing a group project, so
Can I join?
yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
Wait for me.
I feel like feminism has kind of moved more towards something different than what I believe feminism was founded on, which was equality. Now I feel like feminism is kind of moving towards more so, I don't know exactly, but like more like they're reaching a little bit more from what it was originated on, which is supporting other women, you know, uplifting us as a community. I feel like now it's kind of became something else. So
the word equal rights pops up into my mind, especially abortion rights, since that's a topic that's talked about a lot, as well as feminism, so they both go hand in hand. Um, Politics pops up to my head since women's rights has become so political. Yeah.
I would describe myself as a modern feminist. I do enjoy like reading feminist literature. I think modern feminism has a tendency to kind of stray away from like its origins, and especially intersectionality. And I think that's something that's really important, and kind of is often overshadowed by the kind of idea or philosophy that feminism is just like, oh, hating men. So I think modern feminism kind of gets a bad rep. But I would always identify myself as a feminist. And
I think it's actually pretty interesting. Them fighting for like equality, and like different aspects of like just trying to equate with the world in a sense, like fighting for equal pay as men, women being like CEOs or like getting up to the top spot. It's really interesting to see like from now and before the little contrast and freedom that women can get in modern times.
I think there are a lot of different faces of feminism today. I think it depends what community you're looking at, talking to, what their individual goals are. I think there's a lot of segmentation. There's not necessarily one overall goal because a lot of different women all over the world are fighting different battles, and I think a lot of that gets forgotten in certain spaces. So yeah, there's always more room to improve. We're never done working. Yeah.
I think that it's interesting to see everyone fighting for equal rights, but at the same time, there are some people like TERFs who are excluding LGBTQ women from like being female themselves, and I think that's like really wrong because like feminism shouldn't just be excluded to women; it should be for everyone.
I think a lot of those like podcasts on TikTok, yeah, a lot of those who like go against other women and then go against their like feminism belief. The more like the top that I can think about is like the relationship with like men and women in like workplaces, or if a woman should even be wearing makeup. I don't know if you heard those like podcasts.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Honestly, I mean, this might sound a little like outlandish, but I'd say Rosa Parks. I think, yeah, definitely like she had. I mean, it was not only was she a woman, but also a black woman in the South, and to be able to do what she did was like unheard of at the time, and the bravery it took.
Woman. I'm not sure any names, but the person on the $1 coin, I'm pretty sure it is. That's one who most pops up. That's for me.
Great grandmother was part of that, and without her, there wouldn't, she would still be in the kitchen, still not do anything. She would still work, but she wouldn't have the freedoms as today as the equal men. Third wave feminists, I don't really have too much respect for. Very loud, very abruptive, kind of defeats the purpose of feminism, and they pretty much inflamed the gender war.
Number one would probably be Rosa Parks, especially for the Montgomery bus boycott. It was definitely a huge part of history and advocacy for rights. And it wasn't just women's rights, it was also Black women's rights as well, especially to not be discriminated against in more regular areas, such as being on the bus.
Well, Kamala Harris. I'm a Black woman. She's South Asian and a Black woman. And she's fighting for our rights, fighting back for our reproductive rights. So I feel the most representation out of her, and I really, really hope that she wins. But she's the number one voice for us right now, and actually humane, and fighting for reproductive rights, women's rights, Black women's rights, Asian, just everybody. So that would be my one.
Being vocal about women's issues, sample abortion.
Yeah.
I know obviously it isn't a man's place to be like, women should do this, women should do that, but there should be men advocating for these rights as they affect all women, even though a lot of women, specifically richer white women, don't see abortion as a right that they're losing. A lot of poor lower class women are extremely affected by not having that birth control, that contraception option, right?
Yeah.
Another way as a man I feel like you should be doing is just leading by example in education.
Yeah.
A lot of misogynistic tendencies are usually passed down through household, media, all this stuff. Is just being aware of who you are in society and being aware of the privilege and the power you hold as a man, and not continuing misogyny by putting down other women.
More stuff like inclusivity, or I guess more stuff with intersectionality within feminism, because I think just without, I feel like I see myself more in the intersectional parts of feminism rather than just what white feminism is. Although I am white and do reap the benefits of white privilege, but I think more so, especially with the circles I'm in of queer people, it's more that kind of corner of it.
It has to do with, I want to say class is a big part of it. A lot of it has to do with just fighting for equality on a class level. That will affect that doesn't have to do with race, but at the same time it does, because a lot of Black women are, Black people in general, disproportionately impoverished because of systemic issues and all that. So I feel like at a base level, the least you could do is affect classism, and that will have a triple effect into helping Black women. But in general, there are more specific things, like the specific type of discrimination Black women face just for being Black women. They have to go through way more, hair. They have to adjust for attitude problem. That's what you always ever hear about, that Black women have an attitude problem.
Yeah, sure.
It's those type
stereotype.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like there are many, or just people of color in general. If you think about, or there's a lot of statistics on healthcare stuff, between the difference between mortality rates for Black women versus white women, whereas they have a higher chance to die while giving birth than other women, which really it's frustrating to know. Or with Native American women, how many have gone missing, and then what is it called? It's is it missing white woman syndrome, where it's like a white woman goes missing and everyone's out on it and they're like, and it's like
very
how
aware
many
about it,
yeah
and then
how many Native women have to go missing until we talk about it, like that kind of, I guess that stuff is what I know. I'm sure there's a bunch I need to learn or haven't yet learned, but yeah.
I guess in society's culture, like how you would see a lot of more like white women in the well, this is a good question because I'm trying to collect my thoughts.
it's okay.
Okay. So yeah, basically, like if you would see on TV, like a lot of white women be portrayed as the face of feminism, but they exclude black women because of racism. And racism is kind of still rampant today, even in certain movements, like the Black liberation movement, or trying to, no, the gay liberation movements. Like we see a lot of gay people that are mostly white that are mostly portrayed in that movement, but exclude the black people because it's like they're black in a way. So it's like that's what really portrays the way that like black women and white women just like are like excluded from each other, but they have to be in the same conversation because they're all women. You get what I'm saying?
I think that when I see videos online, I see less people of color. Like in general, I will see videos of white women talking about what they want, but I don't see as much coverage on media from like black women experiences. And we all know people of color kind of like have it pretty rough as well as white women, but of course we have our differences. And so I feel like if we were to see more like people of my shade more as your shade more, then we could see like how our cultures are represented in society.
A little bit. I believe that nowadays when you think of a feminist, it's gonna sound kind of like outlandish, but a lot of people think about white women, blue hair, outlandish out there. You don't really think of a woman like me, think of something out there, says crazy liberal things. And I believe that, we shouldn't have a personal ideal of what a feminist is. Just think of a woman and think most likely they should be a feminist, because being a feminist is supporting other women, and I feel like every woman should be a feminist in that sense. Everyone has different definitions of what a feminist is. I believe that is the definition of a feminist, and I think that as a woman you should be a feminist, and especially as a black woman you should be supporting other black women in society, knowing that maybe other races might not support you. You have to support your fellow black woman.
Too many ways. I feel as though when it comes to race now in the white women, let me just say women movement in general, I feel as though it always comes as first, like when white women start getting like, a little bit of their privileges, now all of a sudden it's just particular to them. Like then now when black women try and come like, oh, like, but there's also some things that you guys perpetuate that can affect us as well too. They all of a sudden don't understand how it's like, because now they get their small little rights of the proximity to whatever type of standard that they're living towards. And now it's like they just leave them out of it. And I just feel like they also have racial undertones and then don't want to dive into like how that may affect them just because they're black. They take away their womanness and just see them as black. So I feel like that's where one of the issues lie.
In every single way. In every single way. In like when you see it as a whole, like in general, everybody says, yeah, we are all women, there is no color, we are all women. But in closed doors, like where people make the decisions, it's just the other. Like it's just like, sorry, it's just like I don't want to say white, but like in this
You can say white.
in this country, like when the white people is the one that makes the laws. So in closed doors, like I am Colombian, so every single other race that's not them is the other, and it's completely subject to different kind of judgments, and it's not even included in the whole thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that?
Once again, like I feel like sometimes the modern feminist movement has kind of been not overshadowed in a sense, but kind of more focused on the idea of who is like more educated enough, when in reality we should really be focusing on kind of all banding together. And I do feel like sometimes, especially with different movements, it kind of in the way that it is kind of, I want to say like trendified, in the sense of who can read the most literature, who can like be the most educated. And not only does it tend to exclude maybe like Black women, but it also tends to exclude just everyone who doesn't necessarily have the resources to read that literature and be as educated. So I think that, oh wow, please. I think that yeah, in a sense, modern feminism, not only obviously Black women obviously have many resources to be educated, but outside of race, I think because sometimes it can be a bit classist to kind of expect everyone to be super educated and then afford that literature. Therefore, it kind of unintentionally will also push away groups who feel like maybe I don't have enough time to read as much literature, maybe I don't have enough resources or money to kind of spend this money in books, and therefore I feel like not only does it exclude people in like a class sense, but also therefore in a race sense as well, because class is so deeply tied into race.
During the first wave, feminism meant to many fighting for the right to vote. In the second wave, many associated with reproductive and sexuality rights.
The third wave is where you get your legally blonde girl bosses. And fourth wave feminism, well, we're living it.
As modern feminist continues, we see women get justice as they call their past rapists out with the Me Too movement and their ever-going battle to protect our reproductive rights.
But what does everyone else think of this movement? Is it serving justice or disdain?
We didn't get many answers to this question. We think this might be because many people felt that they needed a famous figure who had done something for the movement. And few did say important figures.
People we could have heard, especially pertaining to the second wave, are Betty Friedan, founder of the NARAL, the National Association for the Repeal of Abortion Laws, to help women take control of their lives.
Gloria Steinman, journalist and social political activist who emerged as a nationally recognized leader of second wave feminism in the United States in the late 1960s and early 1970s. Florence Kennedy, lawyer, radical feminist, civil rights advocate, lecturer, and advocate. Alice Walker, novelist, short story writer, poet, and social activist.
Betty Friedan, feminist writer and activist, a leading figure in the women's movement in the United States, with her 1963 book, The Feminist Mystique. Throughout history, we know the oppression women have faced and still face in present society, whether it is the fight for equal pay, contraception, the right to vote, and so on. Women and minority groups are the greatest example of this. However, Black women are a primary focus for today. There's a good reason for this, as many Black women like Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Ida B. Wells, Harriet Jacobs, Sarah Parker Remond,
Mary Church Terrell, Mary Ann Shadd Cary, Faye Waddington, Lauren Hansberry, and Flo Kennedy.
Rosa Parks, Shirley Chisholm, Kathleen Cleaver, Angela Davis, Eleanor Holmes Norton, Bernice Johnson Reagan, Ruby Doris Robinson, Polly Murray, Daisy Bates, and many more deserve to have their names known as important leaders and contributors to equality for all but women's rights, especially women of color.
Even when women do something get some sort of credit in historical events, the likelihood of not being a white woman is slim.
For example, Ruby Doris Robinson started the women's liberation movement by organizing strikes that established the younger branch of feminism in the second wave.
Why did we ask the question of people's perception of Black women in the feminist movement? We wanted to know how people of today think in terms of, do they possess the kind of knowledge to answer our question? If they do, what is their opinion of whether there is exclusion of Black women in feminist movements of today?
Many of our answers from 42 participants were that, yes, there is an exclusion of Black women in the feminist movement, as you saw. We also had many people who thought there was no exclusion at all, and some said that if there isn't there, shouldn't be.
There was also emphasis from many that they wish to gain knowledge on the topic or regret not knowing enough about the struggles that women face.
Why people think there isn't could stem from a lack of knowledge or exposure to feminism in general, or it could stem from the way society has been shaped, where women are erased from history as much as possible, where Black women and other women of color and other minorities do not get the recognition they deserve presented in our history and to the masses. We might be in a better place now than of the past, with learning about important figures who changed the course of history for all women, but it's still not enough. And more work needs to be put into making this happen to reach the equality goal that everyone deserves. I'm so happy the project went well. Yeah, we got a lot of participants.
And we got a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, it was really fun. I liked it. What do you guys think?
It was cool. It was something new. I really love the future. It's really looking bright.
Yeah. Now that we have all this information, we can change the past.
Wouldn't that be dangerous though?
No, I think with that, women will have more rights.
Wait, guys, our project is coming up.
Oh my god!
Oh crap, what ahead, no, go back. Damn it!
Oh. Gosh darn it, guys. We still got the history project coming up.
Sorry, guys. Hi, my name is Maya. I'll be interviewing you today. Let's first start off.
The history project coming up. I kept it straight.